During my work, I need to write SOPs for customers lots of times. And I just wanted to share what I have found beneficial in writing understandable and effective SOPs over the last years so that you can profit from it and don't need to invent everything from scratch. Let me walk you through it. I have crafted sample SOP for hiring a new employee here. Well, it's simplified, of course. It doesn't necessarily reflect reality in a modern organization, but it's just for a sample here. When I write SOPs, I like to start with a picture because a picture says more than 1,000 words usually. And I just don't draw any picture, but I like to draw a diagram, a BPMN diagram. BPMN stands for Business Process Modeling Notation, and you can model processes and SOPs using this diagram language. Let me emphasize this here. BPMN is very complex and you can model lots of highly complex processes with it. However, I like to stick with the very, very basics of BPMN. Let me walk you through this. This outer rectangle holds some vertical lines which are called swim lanes. The headline of this outer rectangle is, for me, usually the name of the organization that has control over the process. I have found it several times during my work that several organizations share one process. And when it comes to changing that process, it often comes to decisions like, okay, am I allowed to change this? Who has the last say on this process needs to be changed? And I usually like to put that one on top here. Then within this process, there is these vertical swim lanes. That means one swim lane belongs to one role, to one party that is involved in carrying out the process. That needs to be documented here. In this one, it's the manager, HR, and IT support. Next, we do have these circles here. This is the initial trigger. When do we want to start this process? And those ones here are the final endpoints of the process. This one has 2 endpoints. I like to draw my processes top down because usually nowadays you do not print them. So you don't really want to have them from left to right because on the screen you can just scroll a process. And if it's longer than fits into the window, you can just scroll down and see the next bits and parts of that process. Okay, then we have these rounded rectangles here. Those are called activities. That means whoever is on that swim lane, HR in this case, is accountable for doing this here. Then we do have arrows. That's the flow of when happens what and what happens after which other activities. And then we have 2 further things. These here, these diamond here with an X in it means either it's going this way or it's going that way. And we do have something with a plus, which means it's going in both ways in parallel. In this case, the laptop for a new hire can be prepared in parallel to user accounts being created for the new hire. Okay, let me close this diagram and let me walk you through what else I do in this SOP. When I write down this SOP, I start with this. If I have not finished this diagram and everyone is okay with it, that means I need to rework this diagram all over again until everyone says, okay, that's fine for me, this is how it works. And as this is sometimes not enough detail, I like to add one section of description below the diagram per step. So for instance, if you have the step collect applications and schedule interviews up here, you will find it down here for each of these activities. And then I like to add a prose description of what's going on in this activity per activity. Plus, I always like to add a table which will detail what do we need as an input so that we can successfully start to carry out this activity. Which output are we going to produce here, which will serve as input into the next step eventually? Who's accountable? Who supports the accountable? Who needs to review what's going on? And who is finally informed on this has been done? This is very nice. And if you press yourself into using this pattern, you won't forget anything when you document an SOP. And then, as I said, I have short text on what's going on. And I like to push myself into using active voice only here because that prevents that I write passive voice sentences where I do not know who is going to carry it out what's being described. It cannot happen if you just go for active voice sentences. And if you start disciplining yourself into writing SOPs like this, they will be very effective. Plus, they will be fun to read because whoever needs to read them will start with this picture and won't have to read on to the prose below if the picture already answers all the questions. Plus, further advantage, if you tell yourself, okay, I understood the picture here, but I need to know something more in detail about this particular step, you don't have to go through all the text, but you just go to prepare offer and read the details of prepare offer. You can even link these pictures so that when you click on them, you just jump there and you don't even have to make it even more effective. Yeah, that's what I have found to be very effective through the years of writing SOP. Thanks for watching.